It's almost like an open door, like what was old way again is open out, and you got people, and we are in it right here today. We are in it.
Means one thing. It means that people will see me and realize that I am a true American, that my ancestors was here many years before anyone else comes. But to be identified as an Indian, I like to be identified as an American Indian, not just a Native American. Because in my book and the way I feel, anyone born within the borders of the United States, they are Native American. But the American Indian title is what I prefer to be referred to.
Pride for myself and for my parents before me and their parents, and the things now that I have to do for my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. So I understand the 7th generation thing with as a native pride. People think sometimes it's the top or the bottom, it's the center. You have to work balance. Our lifespans has been good for us. Mostly, well, let's just say some of it's because of the way we live and the way we share our lives with our family. And me, the family strength takes care of my traditional strength.
Me, Native American identification, as a term we have in our language is Egwahewa, which means original people. And so for me, identification is continuing to be the original people of this land in both way of living, language, and belief.
My heritage, my family, a sense of being, it makes me whole. It brings me that identity of who I am. When I look in the mirror, I know that reflection that's coming back to me is Native, and my ancestors, and knowing what they did and what they went through to make it possible for me to be here today.
My parents was proud of being called Native Americans, and I'm proud of being called Native American. Or the old term had, we were Indian. And we've been Indian all of our life, and we'll be Indian until we die.
It means a lot to me because it's a heritage from my ancestors. So it means a lot to me. You know, it's brought down from generation to generation. So really, it means a lot to me to be an Indian, a Native American. It really do. I'm 68 years old, and I wouldn't change anything to be an Indian. Yes, it means a lot to be a Native American.
Native American identity means having fun and keeping your culture alive. Most fun you have is having competition when you're doing competition dances, and there's nothing really you can do but have fun and a powwow.
It means everything to me. I mean, it's who I am and what I stand for. And I've always never forget my ancestors, because if it wasn't for my ancestors, I wouldn't be here today. Yeah, but it means everything.
Native American identity to me is a form, a way of identifying as a group of people, as a sovereign nation that we have here in the state of North Carolina. Whether it be Waccamaw, Siouan, whether it be Coharie, Lumbee, Occaneechi, Cherokee, whatever the tribe may be, we walk in both worlds. We walk in that world that was identified or basically introduced to us back in the 1400s. And we as Native people have to keep our identity, to keep that tradition alive, to teach it to our children where they can grow and they can foster that culture and then spread that identity. Because if we lose our identity, then we lose who we are as a people. So we like to keep our identity through song, through dance, through prayer, through all of our elder traditions that we have, and we keep those alive and we keep those going. So we as Native people can keep an identity and keep it strong as we grow in this nation.
Okay, first of all, when I was coming up, when I grew up, I was taught that I was a Native. My mother taught me that way. I mean, when I was little, she always told me that I was Native. She worked with ARDA for years, and the first time I ever started dancing, probably when I was 3 years old. And she's always said that, you know, this is what I'm going to teach you. This is what our heritage is. This is what we're going to do. And from day one, my mother raised me to go to powwows.
I was pretty much raised by my grandfather, Ray Littleturtle, and my grandmother, Cat Littleturtle. So my Native American identity to me is continuing a legacy that was taught to me. I grew up, I can always say like I roll up at the powwow, smell sage. You get kind of excited. You hear like brulee on the speaker system. You get excited and you realize you're at a good powwow. My Native American identity, when I go out, I don't want to be taken for anything else. I'm proud of who I am. So, it's a way of being proud. That's my Native American identity to me. Continuing what my grandfather taught me is the biggest thing.
It means a lot to me. I mean, by being brought up, from my grandparents, that we are the first Americans, and to have that identity, that I stand out, two people showing my heritage, who I am, and I'm proud to be an Indian. I'm proud to be an American Indian. As a young boy growing up, weren't too many around, and you didn't feel like. But no matter where I went, even when I went in the military, I let them know I am an American Indian. I want you to know my identity, that I stand out, that I'm proud to be an Indian, and it means a whole lot to me that I'm the first American.
There's a uniqueness that comes along with that. So many people that we run into, especially with me living in an urban area, they don't really have an identity. They don't really have a specific group of people that they associate with. You see just generic buckets of people like white folks, black folks, but with us we can identify as different nations.
Native American Indian identity means to me, it means everything. It is everything to our children. It is how our children self-identify. It is everything about us. It contains our traditions, our cultures. It guides everything about our daily lives, our businesses. It means everything.
My identity is really not, say, wrapped up in what you saw like the powwow culture or things like that. My identity means to me the traditional way about how our ancestors lived and how they taught our elders to live, and then that was passed on down to me. It's a way that I feel like I've centered myself and been able to understand my place in the perspective of the world. A lot of people go here and there from different places, but they don't have a true center. And with our culture still being very vibrant in today's world, it gives me that center, and it also helps me have an inner peace that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people don't have peace in their life, and being able to connect when I know it's there, it's at hand, it's tangible. It's not something kind of in a fairy tale out there somewhere. It's tangible. We live it, and that's a good way to center yourself, keep your spirit at rest, because it's a lot of unrest in the world today. So being an American Indian here in today's time, it's challenging because you have to deal with school and work. You may be displaced from your community, but you still have that peace within yourself because you know your roots and you know where you come from and you know your story, and that's important.
It's what you feel. It's what you know where you've come from. And you put all those things together and it gives you strength. It helps you move forward. It makes you connect with the past, and it makes you understand what you have to do for the future. Because we have to make sure that our people are not forgotten, that my ancestors are also the ancestors of my grandchildren. And I want them to know who they are and be able to connect. We have such a global world now. We're so intertwined with so many directions, and it's very hard to kind of stay grounded with that original identity. So being Native puts you, I think, at the beginning point, ground zero. You're from the beginning. And as Native people, we have to keep that in mind as we move forward, that our ancestors are depending on us not to lose who we are.